Urologist Reveals. Are you using olive oil? Wrong, yes. Look at me for a second and listen to this carefully, because what I'm about to tell you might make you uncomfortable, but you need to hear it. You probably have a bottle of olive oil in your kitchen right now. Maybe it's on the counter, maybe in a dark cabinet. You use it for salads, for bread, for cooking, and if you're honest with yourself, maybe last night you did something else. Maybe you read online that olive oil was miraculous for male potency, and you took a spoonful straight, hoping something would change. Now let me ask you a question. From doctor to patient, no filters. Did it work? Did you wake up this morning with that firmness? Solid, automatic, non-negotiable. Did you feel that natural urge that doesn't require effort or excuses? Or was it the same as always? Listen to me well. If it didn't work, it's not because olive oil is useless, nor because your age is a sentence, and even less because you're not the same anymore. It's because you're using it incompletely. You're using the fuel, but you're not activating the system. And here's what almost no one explains to you. Olive oil by itself isn't the problem. The problem is that you're missing the key piece that turns it into a real biological trigger. And when you understand what that piece is, everything changes. Before you feel that little twinge of shame, let me tell you something very clear. You're not the only one. In my practice, I see strong, successful, intelligent men. Men who run companies, support families, make important decisions every day, and who silently carry the same concern. Because when the body doesn't respond like before, something inside you shifts. You don't say it out loud, you don't mention it to friends, but you feel it. And almost always, the explanation you give yourself is the same. It's age. Listen to me well, it's not just age. Age isn't a condemnation. It's not an automatic sentence that takes away firmness, desire, or potency. That's a convenient myth, but it's a myth. I've seen men over 70 with an active and satisfying intimate life, and also men at 45 who already feel defeated. So if it's not simply the number on your ID, what is it? This is where we have to talk honestly. Your problem is usually internal, vascular, deep, not superficial, not psychological. In most cases, it's not a lack of desire, it's flow, it's circulation, it's chemistry. Imagine you have a Ferrari in the garage, a powerful engine designed for high performance, but instead of putting the gasoline in the tank, you're pouring it over the hood. No matter how much fuel you use, the engine won't start. Or think of an old rigid hose full of residue inside. You can open the tap as much as you want, but the water won't come out with pressure. That's what often happens in your body. And I want you to understand something important. Your virility isn't negotiable, it's not a luxury, it's not a whim, it's part of your biological identity. And when you understand that the problem has a solution, the shame starts to transform into hope. Allow me to introduce myself properly. Hello, I'm Dr. Natalia Ríos, urologist, surgeon, and specialist in male sexual medicine. I've spent over 2 decades studying the male vascular system and treating men going through exactly what you're experiencing right now. I have seen this pattern thousands of times. Men who believe the problem is age. Men who think it's all about testosterone. Men who try random supplements or internet remedies without really understanding what's happening inside their body. My job isn't to sell illusions, it's to explain mechanisms. In medicine, when we understand the mechanism, we find the solution. For years, I've researched why in certain Mediterranean regions, places like southern Italy, Greece, or Sardinia, many men maintain their potency and desire well into their 70s and 80s, while in other parts of the world, the decline starts decades earlier. The difference isn't magic, it's not privileged genetics. It's physiology, it's circulation, it's vascular chemistry. And when you understand that difference, you stop blaming yourself and start acting strategically. Before continuing, if this topic is important to you, subscribe to the channel and leave your age in the comments. That way, I'll know who I'm creating these videos for and can help you better. Now, I want to make a little contract with you. If you stay with me until the end of this video, I promise you 3 very concrete things. Not vague theories, not motivational phrases. 3 clear results. First, you're going to understand exactly why your body no longer responds like before. Not from guilt, not from fear, but from real physiology. When you understand the mechanism, you stop feeling lost. Second, you're going to learn an exact step-by-step protocol that you can prepare in your own kitchen. Yes, your kitchen can become a small biological laboratory when you know what to combine, in what order, and why. The difference between a simple food and a vascular strategy is in the details. And third, and this part is crucial, later on I'll reveal to you a specific manual unblocking technique that almost no one explains clearly. A technique that works directly on deep circulation and complements what you do internally, but I need your full attention. Close the other tabs, turn off your phone, listen to me without distractions, because what I'm going to explain to you isn't a quick internet tip. It's practically a private masterclass on your own anatomy. And in the next part, I'm going to show you something that probably no doctor has explained to you with this level of detail. Now, I need us to do something important. Forget the romantic stuff for a moment. Forget movies, emotions, even desire. Because although all that influences, the basis of your erection isn't poetry, it's engineering. Your erection is a hydraulic system. Yes, hydraulic. Imagine a structure designed to fill with blood at high pressure. For it to work properly, blood must enter quickly through the arteries and at the same time be trapped inside. It's a perfect balance. Massive inflow, controlled outflow. When blood enters forcefully, it fills the cavernous bodies. The internal pressure increases. That pressure compresses the veins that would normally allow blood to exit. It's like inflating a high-performance tire. When the pressure is sufficient, the structure becomes firm, stable, reliable. That's how you achieve that solid sensation that doesn't require effort. Now, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? That experience where there is a response, but it's not complete? That firmness that seems to stay at 60%? That situation where everything starts well, but halfway through the act, the pressure is lost? That's not a coincidence. When you were younger, your arteries were flexible, wide, and elastic. The inside of those blood vessels was smooth, almost perfect. Blood flowed without friction. A minimal stimulus was enough to activate the system, but over the years, something silent starts to change. Here's where the real villain of this story appears: endothelial dysfunction. Let me explain it simply. The inside of your blood vessels is lined with a very thin layer called the endothelium. Imagine it as the non-stick coating of a new pan. When it's healthy, it's smooth, slippery, allowing blood to flow without obstacles. But if that coating gets damaged, everything changes. Ultra-processed food, excess sugar, tobacco, chronic stress, sedentary lifestyle, all that acts as small daily aggressions. Over time, that internal Teflon stops being smooth. It becomes irregular, rigid, inflamed. Now imagine trying to pump water through an old, hardened hose full of residue inside. You can open the tap fully, but the pressure won't be the same. That's exactly what happens in many men. The mind wants it, the desire is there, but the hydraulic system doesn't generate enough pressure to maintain full firmness. And here's the key point. It's not just about blood entering, it's about it entering with enough speed, volume, and pressure to close the outflow valves. If the inflow is weak, the outflow isn't blocked, and then what many men experience in silence happens. A partial erection that fades too soon. It's not a lack of masculinity, it's not a lack of desire, it's vascular physics. And when you understand this, something changes inside you because it's no longer a mystery. It's no longer an invisible threat. It's a concrete mechanism that can be understood and worked on. Now, I want you to etch this name into your mind. Nitric oxide. Repeat it. Nitric oxide. Because this small molecule is the true star of your erection. Nitric oxide is a gas that your own body produces, specifically the endothelium we just talked about. And its function is simple but powerful: to send a direct order to your arteries that says relax and open up. When nitric oxide is released, it activates a biochemical process that produces something called cyclic GMP. You don't need to memorize the term, but understand what it does. It allows the smooth muscle of the arteries to dilate. More space, more flow, more pressure. Without enough nitric oxide, the arteries remain tense, partially closed, even if there's desire, even if there's stimulation, even if there's testosterone. See the difference? Desire is mental, firmness is vascular. Now comes the part that almost no one explains to you. Over the years, and especially with bad habits, the natural production of nitric oxide decreases. It doesn't disappear completely, but it reduces. Why? Because damaged endothelium loses efficiency. Because chronic inflammation interferes with the enzyme responsible for producing it, nitric oxide synthase. Because oxidative stress neutralizes part of its effect. In simple terms, your body keeps trying to send the order, but the volume of the message is lower. And here's where many men make the big mistake with olive oil. They think drinking it alone will generate an immediate response. Listen to me clearly. Extra virgin olive oil is extraordinary for long-term cardiovascular health. Its polyphenols help reduce inflammation. Its monounsaturated fats support endothelial function. But it's not an immediate burst of nitric oxide. It's maintenance, it's progressive cleaning, it's quality fuel for the system, but it's not the spark that ignites the engine when you need it. Imagine the Ferrari again. You can use the best premium gasoline in the world, but if the spark plug doesn't generate a spark, the engine won't start. That's what happens when you just take olive oil expecting an instant result. You're caring for the system, yes, but you're not activating the signal that orders the arteries to open right now. And when you understand this difference between fuel and trigger, everything starts to make sense. You don't need to abandon olive oil. You need to activate it correctly. This is where most men stop, halfway, because olive oil is an extraordinary base. But by itself, it's practically inert when we're talking about rapid system activation. It's maintenance, it's protection, it's fertile ground. But without a catalyst, there's no powerful reaction. And now, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine I have here on this table a small cloth covering two ingredients. Nothing exotic, nothing imported from a distant jungle, nothing that costs hundreds of euros. Under this cloth are two elements that are probably already in your kitchen. Cheap, everyday, ignored. And yet, when combined correctly with olive oil, in the precise order and under certain conditions, they generate a much more interesting biochemical response than any of the three alone. Look at me well, the secret isn't in the ingredient, it's in the combination. In medicine, we call this synergy. When two compounds interact strategically, the result can be superior to the isolated effect of each. It's not magic, it's applied organic chemistry. And in this specific case, we're talking about activating the nitric oxide pathway that's already inside you more efficiently. I'm not saying it replaces medical treatments or that it's a miracle cure. What I'm telling you with professional responsibility is that when used properly, this system can support vascular function in a surprisingly effective way for many men. But there's a crucial detail. If you mix these ingredients any which way, if you use them without understanding the process, if you improvise, you'll lose much of the effect. That's why I need you to stay with me a few more minutes, because in the next part, I'm going to lift this symbolic cloth and reveal exactly what those two elements are, and most importantly, why their combination with oil transforms something common into a strategic tool for your male circulation. And when you understand it, you'll look at your kitchen with different eyes. The time has come to lift the cloth. Underneath, there's nothing exotic, no mysterious powders, no imported capsules. What there is simple but powerful when understood. Garlic, fresh lemon, and high-quality extra virgin olive oil. Yes, that's all. And before you frown, let me say it first. Dr. Natalia, I eat garlic in my meals. I drink lemon with water. I use olive oil every day. I know, but listen to me carefully because this is where almost everyone fails. It's not about consuming the ingredients separately. It's about activating a specific chemical reaction that only happens when the process is done correctly. Let's start with the garlic. Raw garlic contains a compound called alliin. By itself, alliin is relatively inactive, it's not the trigger, but when you crush or mash the garlic, you break its cell walls and release an enzyme called allinase. That enzyme transforms alliin into a completely different substance, allicin. And here's where the story gets interesting. Allicin is the real trigger. It's the compound that can support the production and availability of nitric oxide in the vascular system. In simple terms, it helps your arteries receive a clearer signal to relax and dilate. But there's a serious problem. Allicin is extremely unstable, it's volatile, it degrades easily, especially in strongly acidic environments or when not protected. If you just swallow garlic without proper preparation, much of that potential is lost before it reaches where it really matters. And here's where the second element of the triad comes in: fresh lemon. Lemon juice provides vitamin C and an antioxidant environment that helps protect allicin during the early phases of the process. It doesn't make it indestructible, but it does improve its stability and reduce immediate degradation. It's like placing a shield around the active compound. And now we come to the third component: extra virgin olive oil. Remember what we said before? The oil is fuel and maintenance. But here it serves another strategic function. Allicin and other garlic compounds have an affinity for lipid environments. When combined correctly with the oil, it acts as a transport vehicle. Think of the oil as a biological Trojan horse. It encapsulates and facilitates the passage of active compounds through the digestive system so they can be absorbed more efficiently. It's not just mixing, it's creating a system. Properly activated garlic, lemon that protects, oil that transports. That's the triad. And the most impactful thing is that you were probably ignoring this missing link all along. You had the ingredients right in front of you, but not the knowledge of the mechanism. It's not ancient magic, it's not superstition. It's basic biochemistry applied with intention. When you understand this, you stop seeing three common foods and start seeing a vascular strategy designed to support your system from within. And in the next part, I'm going to explain exactly how to prepare this triad without ruining the process, because a small mistake can significantly reduce its effectiveness. Let me tell you a real story from my practice. I'll call him Carlos. He's 62 years old. Businessman, active, mentally sharp, physically healthy on the surface. When he came to my office, he was frustrated but trying to keep his composure. He said something I hear often. Doctor, I've been taking a spoonful of olive oil on an empty stomach for 3 years. I read it was good for circulation, but in bed nothing changes. 3 years. His cholesterol had improved slightly. His tests weren't alarming, but his intimate life remained the same. Inconsistent erections, partial firmness, loss midway through the act. It wasn't a lack of desire, it wasn't a lack of attraction, it was incomplete vascular performance. I explained to him exactly what I'm explaining to you now. The oil alone is maintenance, not a trigger. I instructed him on the properly activated TRIAD and asked him something very specific. Follow the exact protocol for 7 days, without improvising, without skipping steps, nothing else. 4 days later, he sent me a short message, almost incredulous. This morning, I woke up with an erection as firm as I haven't felt in years. When he returned to the office a week later, his body language was different, more confident, lighter. He told me that not only had he noticed greater morning firmness, but better response during intimacy. And I want you to understand something important. It wasn't magic, it wasn't suggestion, it wasn't an emotional placebo, it was chemistry plus protocol. When the mechanism is activated correctly, the body responds. Carlos didn't need more willpower, he needed the right combination and the correct process. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you now. Now, this is where we turn curiosity into action, and I need you to listen as if you were hearing a clinical instruction, with attention and without improvising. Because the difference between a simple salad dressing and a preparation with vascular intent is in the precision. First, the rules of the game. Rule number 1, use good quality extra virgin olive oil, ideally in a dark glass bottle. Why? Because light and heat degrade sensitive compounds. If you want to do this right, start with a stable base. Rule number 2, optional but recommended. If you can choose, use